everyone. Melissa Wilson here from Fox 26 Morning News. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. I'm thrilled you're here with us today. I have an incredible guest. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. She is a powerhouse mom, and I am telling you, we can all learn a little something for her. So perhaps grab a drink, whatever it is you want. I'm still drinking coffee. Still in wake up mode this week from it being a holiday week. But without further ado, let's bring in Heather Meza. Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm so happy to see you. You have a beautiful, incredible story to share about your little girl. So thank you for being here to do that. So I want to start from the beginning, and then I hope that our viewers will have questions for you because you have some incredible knowledge to share with them. First of all, your beautiful daughter, who's now 6, her name is Cinnia, was diagnosed with a rare condition. As a medical reporter, I had never heard of it before, but you reached out to me as a Fox 26 viewer and said, let's raise awareness about this. So first of all, thanks for watching Fox. Thanks for
Thank
reaching out to me. And now we're sharing your story. First of all, it's hard to even pronounce. Tell us the name of the condition your daughter was diagnosed with.
It's called cri-du-chat, also known as 5P minus. She's actually trying to join us right now.
Oh, but bring
So
her
there
on.
she is.
Hi, how are you,
Um,
beautiful?
so the name is French. It's French for cry of the cat, which is a common characteristic for most newborns. They sound like kittens when they cry.
Oh,
So
this and look at this sweet baby. But she also had some breathing issues and some different things that you were concerned about.
yes. So she actually did not have the cat cry. Her breathing was so weak, she just didn't really have any cry. So it wasn't picked up on right away for her.
Mm-hmm.
But she did have breathing issues and even swallowing issues like immediately from birth. This was her going home outfit, and that was going back to the hospital 2 days later.
Oh
Actually, the
no.
next day, the day after we were released, the next morning we were sent back. Um, and so it it was very rare. It wasn't first discovered until the 60s, and right now current data says one in about 50,000 births worldwide. Um, and so it's not well known.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what there is.
Well, you're a mama on a mission, and you did everything you could to figure this out, which is huge because it was able to help your daughter learn how to communicate in different ways. So let's talk about that journey first of
Yeah.
all of not knowing. I know that had to be really difficult, and I want to show leading up to that, she's got here a device that helps her be able to talk to you, which has to be huge that you were able to find that and to work toward that.
Yes, it was. We started very early with speech therapists, and we had a speech therapist I'd actually been colleagues with before she was born, and I was blessed to have her. And she was very big on total communication. So
Mhm,
from Cinnia being months old, we signed to her. We
mhm.
encouraged all kinds of sounds and babbling. When she was able to reach out for things, we started using pictures and teaching her how to use pictures to communicate and request along with signs. So, like by the time she was 2, she knew hundreds of signs. She had a similar 2-year-old vocabulary, except hers was sign. And she was learning to use pictures and therapy sessions, and all of that built up to a where she is now, which is verbal, but she's hard to understand. So she has her device that she uses a lot at school and with people that she doesn't know to
Mhm.
help clarify. And
Well,
it's been so helpful.
oh, yeah, it just makes a world of difference when I got to meet you in person and be able to see how you all communicate. It's just a normal conversation for you 2. I mean, you really have it figured out. I wanna say thanks to Selenia here who says she's praying for your little one. Thank you for that. We
Yes,
always love to
thank
hear that. And
you.
Mary says the exact same. I do believe that the power of
You're
prayer
okay. Go eat lunch,
makes
okay?
a big difference. And I know you have a lot of advice for people who might be dealing with an unknown diagnosis, and I want to get to that in a minute. But first of all, I want to talk about just how faith comes into all of this for you. It can be incredibly challenging to raise a child. We always say it takes a village, right? But
Yes.
then when you add any type of condition on top of it, it just takes it to a new realm. But where does faith come into all of this for you?
Our faith has always been really important in our family. So even as early as having her christened, which as a Catholic based family, that's something we do in infancy usually. And it presented challenges because usually the church did group christenings, but we were able to speak with them and they made a private ceremony for us because her airway was
Mhm.
so weak and she was so susceptible to things. And so just being able
Mhm.
to participate in those typical things for us and, taking her to church, um, being able to be even in the cry room, or, when she was strong enough to be able to go to nursery,
Mhm.
um, just having that and having our church support and our family, and on both sides of our family, there's different faiths and different levels of faith, but we always had that support, no matter what. It's
Mhm.
just so having that and the friends we have through church and things as well that have just always been there and always rooting for us and just
But
connecting.
yeah, that support system makes all the world of difference. And while we talked about you and I had never even heard of this condition. And so as the mom, what is your advice for somebody who has, perhaps it's their child, maybe it's themselves, something going on and nobody can figure it out? That is what's so hard. I think we go to the doctor and we expect this diagnosis, and we're on Google, probably being trying to go to Dr. Google and get some help, and you can't find those answers. What do you suggest to people in that position?
Yeah, it is really hard. I mean, I think you have to build a network with like your primary care doctor.
Mhm.
And I think, something I mentioned to you before is
Mhm.
don't be afraid to fire a doctor. If they're
Yeah.
not listening, you know,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't have to be a personal thing. It's just not the
Right.
right fit for you. We've let go of doctors and it doesn't mean they weren't
Mhm.
good, but they weren't the right fit for us.
Mhm.
And we have great doctors that sit and listen to us and will help us with referrals. And, if I'm curious about something, they'll help us figure it out or help
Mhm.
us look into it at least.
Mhm.
And so, but that comes at the price of, having the
Oh,
strength to
yeah.
say, you know what, I'm going to find somebody else because
Mhm.
I need somebody who will work with me.
Mhm. We have some more comments here from Patty, says she's praying for your beautiful daughter. We have Heather saying the same, sending lots of love. And we have Conchetta here saying she's so beautiful, beautiful family. And I love this too. Penny saying, so proud of the wonderful mother you are. That is another powerful message that you have to share with people. I think we a lot of times get lost in the fray of things, and you say, whatever you do, slow down, enjoy the moment.
Yes.
And you even wish, even though you have done an incredible job, you wish that you had perhaps taken that a little more seriously.
Yes. That is one thing. The first 2 years went by so fast because we were just so determined to figure everything
Yeah.
out. And we sat down and it was like, wait a minute, like, what have we done in the last 2 years? What have we done as a family? What have we done with her? Like the whole time was just about finding doctors and going to therapies and this and all that was really important. But we just didn't necessarily take time to just be a family and say hi, say hi, say hi.
We want to say hi to you. Is that your big sister?
That's one big sister. Yes. The other one's not home right now. So
Nice.
this is,
Oh, that's a nice surprise. We have a
they are best buddies.
Oh, that is wonderful to see. I'm sure they enjoy
Go
each
sit up
other
front.
so much.
Yes, you may have a treat.
How
Sorry.
does
It
a
is lunchtime.
diagnosis like this, Heather, affect the entire family? Because when you're dealing with all those doctor's appointments you were talking about, especially those first 2 years, she had 3 major surgeries, dozens of MRIs and
Yeah.
scopes. How did you balance that life for your other ones?
Well, once we figured out that we had to, um, it was just about when the kids had a school break, like spring break, we would
Mhm,
just tell therapy, "Hey, we're taking the week
mhm,
off." They're like,
mhm.
"Are you going somewhere?" We're like, "No, we're hanging. We're just doing the family thing this
Yeah,
week." And
yeah.
we don't take entire summers off, but we try to take a week like earlier in the summer and a week later in the summer if we're not going somewhere because we don't travel a lot, but if we're going somewhere, we save it for that. But we've gotten to
Mhm,
where we're not afraid to take a week off.
mhm,
Um, we take the week at Thanksgiving. We usually take the week of Christmas and, so that we have that time, even if our family isn't really doing anything in particular, we're just
mhm,
hanging out together
mhm.
and we're not interrupting to go here at 4 p.m. on Wednesday and here at, 1:30 on
Mhm.
Monday and that. And um sometimes it's a challenge to find activities that she's able to participate in because she does have limitations. It's hard with birthday parties because she
Oh, I
can't do
bet.
bouncies, because of some of her surgeries. She can't do bouncies and things like that. So,
Mhm.
we have to limit some things like that. But recently, her best buddy who was in here was invited to a birthday party, and the family's like, "Oh, bring her too." And I was like, "Oh, we can't." So I took her for a special day, and we went shopping
Yeah.
and she had fun. She picked out a jump rope and stuff.
Well, and I
Um,
love you say that she just has so much fun for the most part. Look here, I guess this
Yes,
was
that
this
was
like
that
during
great
our
Texas
freeze?
snow day. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
how'd she do with the ice and snow? Was she okay with that
Oh,
new change in her life?
yes, it was she had the most fun. Yeah, that one was a really fun morning.
I love all her
We have a
outfits.
little
That is
hill in our
so
front yard,
cute.
and they did Texas sledding that day. We took a laundry basket out and they, like, sledded down the
Uh-huh.
hill.
A lot of parents who might be dealing with a child who has autism might understand too that she'll sometimes wears noise
Yeah.
canceling headphones. How does that help her?
Oh, that's been a game changer.
Mhm.
She couldn't communicate with us before, and her sisters have always been very big in performing arts, and so going to their shows was a struggle, and we never really knew why. Because she would just cry, but she would be happy to go, and then she'd be happy
Mhm.
when it was done, and I think it was maybe last year she was finally able to tell us, like, she didn't like the noise, and because 'cause we'd ask her, "Does it
Mhm.
hurt?" And she'd say, "No," and so she was having a hard time expressing that, so finally I was like, "Oh, I grab these ear defenders." They're just like hunting earmuff things.
Mhm.
And this was an outdoor concert we just recently went to a few weeks ago. And it was the second or third time she wore them. And it just has made the world of difference. We've been to dance
Mhm.
recitals with them now and summer camp shows with music indoors. And she can actually sit and
Yeah.
see those things. And it just makes her so much more comfortable.
And then also, I believe, are these her first pair of glasses? How big of a difference did that make in her
That was
life?
her first pair, yes. That pair was a struggle because they didn't fit well, and that frustrated her, and I thought, "Oh, this is gonna be so hard," and about
Mhm.
6 months later, they actually, met a tragic demise where she threw them out the window of the car in a parking lot, and I was able to recover them, but not after they were run over, so I took
Oh,
them in, and
dear.
they're like, "We can't fix these," but this age in her life, she was about 2, so she was growing rapidly, so at that point, they're like, "Let's just get her some new frames." So
Mhm.
we actually upgraded to, like, a standard style frame, and that made the world of difference. She loves her glasses. She doesn't have them on right now, she wears them, but she wears them for school all the time.
That's
She
good.
right now they're Hello Kitty. She's had Paw Patrol. She just thinks it's
Aw,
the
that's
greatest thing to go
fun.
get to pick out her new frames, and
Yeah.
she likes to express through those too.
And you aren't finished with procedures, so you have another one coming up. So it's
No,
sort of
we
on is it
do.
ongoing with this? Will it always be that way, or do they outgrow some of
Yeah.
those?
Yeah, unfortunately, it will, and tomorrow is actually one that's, gonna answer some really big lingering questions we have and is
Mhm.
really going to shape some trajectory of how we move forward in some of her personal care, um, and so there's a lot of anxiety over that, and
Love
then we
that.
also have annual MRIs coming up, which are I
Mhm.
mean, those are we just have to have them. We have to look at the status
Mhm.
post-surgery, on her skull, brain, and spine,
Mhm.
and how those things especially with growth, because growth
Mhm.
can affect, a lot of that, and we had a really scary one a few years ago, but thankfully the follow-ups have been, um showing that the change is stable, so we're still in a watch and wait mode,
Mhm.
but each one of those MRIs could lead to a new surgery date. The procedures tomorrow is some testing that's pretty intense, and they're actually going to need to do anesthesia to do it because it's that intense, and
Oh, wow.
um, it's big,
Yeah.
and then we go months without needing to do things, and we fall into this routine of kind of forgetting the medical
Mhm.
life,
Mhm.
because on a day-to-day, she doesn't need a lot of intervention, and then we hit these seasons where it's time to address all these
Yeah.
things again, and
Well, it was perfect timing for William to pop up this prayer for your child, and I think that we will all certainly be saying your name and her name in prayer as you go through that procedure and in the future. Let's go back over this. I'm glad Madeline says she's asked what the symptoms are of this rare syndrome, and we mentioned some of them. So let's go back and talk about, first of all, the typical ones versus what you did and what you have seen through your own daughter.
Yeah, so I will say first off, Cinnia is definitely in a higher category of needing less interventions. There's a very broad range with this syndrome, everything from kids who may need things like trachs and G tubes for, breathing and nutrition. They may not gain mobility. They may not ever fully walk. They may not ever fully be verbally communicative. Um, Typically, they're pretty small at birth. Cinnia was not small. She was 6'15", and that was 2 weeks early. She was small for my babies, though, because the other
Mhm,
2 girls were 9 pounds, so it seemed weird that she was small to me, but she wasn't a size that would trigger a
mhm,
low birth weight. But that's very common. They do often have trouble of feeding. We've gone through a lot of feeding therapy, and we've been very close to tube feeds, and she's just kind of pulled through at the last minute, but we've had to do a lot of supplemental nutrition and, as an infant, very specific feeding styles.
mhm,
Um, a lot of times their voices will remain squeaky or higher pitched, even into adulthood. They sometimes will have a harder time um, with any motor skills, really. Even like Cinnia has struggles with some things. Um, Gosh, I mean, but they're usually what's most common is the kids are definitely a lot smarter than their speech or their physical abilities would let you think they are. So it's very common for them to have what's called better receptive language skills,
mhm,
which means what they understand than what they can
mhm,
actually express. So
mhm,
it's really important to not underestimate. Um, but there's such a range. I mean, you can just expect feeding delays, motor delays. There's heart problems that can be attached to it.
mhm,
We don't have those, but it's not uncommon. It's kind of like they're cousins that like to play together
mhm.
sometimes. Liver and kidney issues can be common. Um,
I think it's so important anytime you have something like this to have a support group of people who know and understand besides just medical workers. Have you found any type of support group, or is it too rare to be able to find other people who are going
No,
through this?
actually, there's an amazing international support group called the
Right.
5 P Minus Society. Sorry, I'm sure they will not be mad at me for saying it.
Oh,
They're
no,
doing
I bet they
always
won't.
everything they can. And their national conference is actually coming up this month.
Mhm,
We're not able to travel to it this year for some scheduling conflicts, but we were able to go a couple years ago.
mhm,
And it's just so amazing. We have an amazingly active Facebook page and newsletters that go out quarterly. My goodness, it
that's
is such a
great.
great place, and thankfully I found it immediately and joined and was just welcomed. And we all celebrate each other,
Mhm.
and we pray with each other.
That's
Just
awesome.
it's just
What a
we're just
beautiful
there and we
blessing.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that's so nice to hear. Well, Heather, thank you for joining us. It's so nice to be able to talk to you, for us to all learn from you, to see your bright spirit that shines through, how you take these tough moments with your daughter and turn them into something beautiful on a regular basis. And I just feel like you're such a beautiful spirit. I wish you nothing but the very best with your beautiful girl. I hope everything goes really well tomorrow,
Thank
as
you.
well in the future. I hope you stay in touch. Show us how she's doing as
We
she
will.
continues to grow up, and any milestones, maybe we can do an update on her.
Okay, for sure.
Take care of you. God bless you, your
Thank you.
beautiful,
You
sweet
too.
family. So good to see you.
All right.
And I hope that you all will join us every Wednesday. This is a place to be for Lunch for the Soul. I love having you here, and I hope to see you back next week. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next time.